Yes, legend. Welcome to the next lesson, which is boundary blurs and when school then starts living rent free in your life, which is what we want to try and reduce after today's lesson. So, as always, I'm going to be taking you through actionable steps to then apply straight after the lesson and getting stuck in. So by the end of this lesson, first of all, we're going to understand why work and personal life become so intertwined as teachers. And secondly, we're going to recognise your blurs. We're going to recognise where your own boundaries are quietly blurring, and this can happen without us even noticing. So today we are really identifying that. And then third, we are taking one action. So as always, not going to overwhelm you. We're just taking one simple action to then create more separation from work. So let's have a little look. We leave school, right? If we're lucky, we leave school at 4 o'clock, but do you then actually really leave school behind and then you're ready to then start your evening? 9 times out of 10, I can guarantee that you're probably listening to this lesson and thinking, no, that's not the case. And some examples I've just put here, we could be thinking about tomorrow's lesson on the drive home and just thinking about the next day that's coming up. We then might be replying to a parent's email whilst making the dinner because you're just trying to do 2 things at once and trying to get ahead. It could be marking books whilst the TV is on, so then you still feel like you're having your time, but really you're not, you're still doing work. And then I've also just put here as well, feeling guilty for sitting down because there's still so much to do. And I really cannot stress and highlight enough that there will always be something for you to do. There will always be something next on the to-do list, but it's really important that we do have those boundaries and we have those cut-off points so that you are then your happiest and your healthiest self. And work doesn't end when the bell goes. We know this, but it's about having strong intentions to try and make this as possible as possible Really, I probably should stop recording and film this again, but I'm not, because it's just me being real. But we know that work doesn't then end when the bell goes, so it follows you into your evenings and into your weekends, but also your holidays as well. So what actually is a boundary blur to start with? So it's when the line becomes your work life and then your personal life, and it then starts to become unclear. So your teacher you, because you have your identity as a teacher when you're stood at the front of the class, when you're walking around the school, you have a different presence as a teacher from you know, when you're at home and you are with your family or with your friends, and you're out for coffee, whatever it is, you are 2 very different people. So this is where the boundaries blur, and then teacher you and you then merge into one. So it's really important to then have that separation as well, because as I've said in previous lessons, your identity is not just a teacher. Okay, you are so much more than your job role. And again, this can look like always being available, so you become reachable all the time. If you've got emails on your phone, which absolutely get rid of them now, and there's no clear moment when work stops. Your brain then stays on, your mind keeps processing school even when your body has physically left the building. And there's no off switch, so your nervous system never gets a message that the working day has actually finished, because you're constantly just thinking about work. Now, the cost of being on, this can chip away over time, and this can lead to the following. So we can have a big mental load, just constant background noise in your mind, and that is so exhausting mentally. It's really difficult to switch off, and you know, you can't then truly, fully relax and be present. We've then also got the rest guilt, so a nagging feeling of guilt that, you know, every time you sit down, there's always more to do. Oh, I'll just do this task next. Oh, I'll just get ahead for the next day. And then also drained energy, so less than left for yourself and your family and the things that you actually enjoy outside of school. And you know this by now from the previous lessons, but this happened to me, and I would give everything to the job and I wouldn't then have my own energy left for the things that I love to do. So I would then not go to the gym. I would then not do all my hobbies and activities at the weekend because I just felt so exhausted. Now, the irony about this, we would never expect this from our students. We would say if our students are feeling overwhelmed and if they're constantly on the go, or if they're constantly studying, for example, we would tell them to then take a break. So we expect it from them and we tell them to do that, but it's time to then also take our own advice as well. and make sure that we are actually doing this and we are sticking to this because we deserve it. So why it matters, protecting your energy. And I've just put this absolute Zen lady here. So wellness isn't just workouts, it's not meal prep, and it's not just eating healthy, it's also then protecting your energy. So every time work then spills into a personal time without intention, it's then just stealing more and more of your recovery time and downtime that you can actually be having. And it's not being lazy when you're recovering, it is an absolute essential, it is a must. And when you're rested, you then become a better teacher because you've had time out, you feel recharged, and then you're your best self when you then go back into work, when you're in the classroom with your students. So your boundary reset, just choose one this week. I'm not going to give you loads of tasks to do, as you know, we're applying as we go along. So after you've watched this lesson, take action straight away. We've got the school shutdown ritual. So write tomorrow's top 3 priorities, tidy your desk, close your laptop and say today's work is done. I know that I've gone over that in another lesson as well, but this is just a reminder just to make sure you do have a shutdown ritual. Email cut-off time. So when you're walking through your front door, when you have finished work, when you physically left the building, you're walking through your front door, that is your home time. That is your switch off time. So do not answer any emails, do not do any more work when you walk through the door. Then physical boundary, keeping your laptop in one place, out of sight, out of mind, away from you, because work is done. One thing that changed the game for me was changing out of my work clothes straight after work. So as soon as I got home, or sometimes I would go straight to the gym after work, I would get out of my work clothes, get into my gym gear, or if I was going home, get into my comfies or get into some active wear and going for a walk. And that honestly changed the game because it just had that clear separation. And then protecting one evening, no marking, no planning, no emails, just you. If you can, take a break from the family, take a break from your partner, from your friends, honestly, everyone. Just have one evening per week, or even just an hour into one of your evenings, just to be on your own and just have that time for yourself. That can go a really long way. And yeah, you can work through a lot of things, I think, within that time for yourself. So it's not about caring less, you're actually doing more if you then set these boundaries and when you're taking action. So both can coexist. You can be an incredible teacher, protecting your well-being, and they're supporting each other. You're going to be your best self when you're in the classroom, you're going to be your happiest and your healthiest self. And then small and consistent. So small boundaries repeated consistently, they are then creating a healthier teacher, a happier life beyond the bell, which is what it's all about. Life is short. We do not want to give everything to the job and have no energy and no time left for ourselves outside of the classroom. So just take a moment, really should refilm this. Take a moment. Where does it follow you? Have this as a reflection. So where do I notice that my work following me home most often? Is it a certain day where maybe you might have a bit more of a challenging class? Or what feels easiest? So which boundary reset feels most manageable to then start this week and start there? And then third, how do you want to feel? So how do I want to feel when I walk through my front door after work and after school? Feeling relaxed, feeling recharged, feeling switched off, and ready for yourself and ready for the evening. Okay, so just remember, as always, taking action is the most important part. There is no point whatsoever in watching this video and then taking zero action. So start today, okay? This is your sign. Start today. Choose one boundary to then practice every single day this week and let me know how you get on. So you do not need perfect boundaries. You just need to start where you are now and putting things into motion to then get the ball rolling, to then find this as your new normal as you go on. So you just need stronger ones than yesterday. So small, consistent changes and consistent boundaries are so much more powerful than trying to change everything at once. So just take it step by step. All right. So enough from me. Go and take action, get those boundaries set into place, and I'll see you in the next lesson.